As a journalist for CGTN, I'm always tracking where Colombia's president is headed. And guess what? Back in May, President Petro went to China. While digging around online, I found this guy. Yep, the one with the long beard, right behind the president. That's Carlos Carrillo. He's the director of Colombia's Disaster Management Unit. But that's not the wild part. He got his master's at Donghue University in Shanghai, and his first language is Spanish. I knew I had to meet him. Let's go to Bogotá. He's waiting for us at his office. You probably think I live in Bogotá, but I don't. I'm about 30 minutes away in a smaller town surrounded by mountains and greenery.
That's the cool thing about Colombia. Drive an hour and you're in a totally different climate.
So much biodiversity, but that also makes things like disaster management way more complex. I'll let Carlos Carrillo explain that. Mr.
Hi.
Carrillo, nice to meet you.
How are you?
Thank you for
Good to see
having
you.
me. This is wonderful. I've seen this place on television. This is Colombia's crisis room, right?
This is the place where we meet with the generals, colonels, and all these people in charge of actually rescue and do all this hard work. We recently had an earthquake
Yes.
very close to Bogotá, like something like 200 kilometers away.
It was
We have it here
6.5,
on the
right?
screen. Yes.
Yeah.
It was kind of a shake.
Yes.
And we have two towns, Medina and Paratebueno. That is kind of a weird name in Spanish, but they were very affected for this
Wow,
earthquake.
and I've heard that those lights over there, they change depending on what moment we're in. They're in yellow right now.
Oh, yes, that means that something is going on. Usually, if nothing kind of serious is happening, it's green. And
Okay.
if something is really bad, that will turn red.
Red.
Yeah.
Well, no, and so is this where you work? Is this where you're at? Your
Well,
office?
my office is actually over here. It's next door, so come over.
Great. So first of all, tell us please, what is this unit, National Unit of Risk Management?
Well, this is the national agency in charge of response, but not just response. We have three main missions. One is to respond. The other one is to understand risk, and the other one is to reduce risk, to mitigate.
And there are a lot of risks. We just mentioned the earthquake, and I have a daughter who asks me, Mom, does Colombia have hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes? What does Colombia have?
I think she's right. We have everything. We have hurricanes. Recently, we started this hurricane season. We have earthquakes. Last week, we had one. We have landslides, a lot of them. We have floods. We have droughts. We have tsunamis. We have whatever. I mean, you name it.
And it's because of all of the biodiversity that we have, ecosystems, right? Tell us a little bit about Colombia.
I mean, nature here is fantastic. You have Pacific Ocean, you have the Caribbean, you have the Amazon, and we have also these magnificent mountains. But for example, we have a big of problems with water. As you can see, nowadays, right now is raining, and this water usually tend to cause landslides and things like that.
Well, I can't help but notice you have a sign here of from China, right? Who gave you this?
This beautiful scroll comes from the emergency ministry in Beijing. This is actually the building, and they are showing their capacities they have.
They gave that to you when you went to China recently?
Yes, they did. They did.
But you've also lived in China, right? 6 years.
6 years.
Did a
of my life.
master's degree in China in Mandarin.
艺术设计.
I don't speak Mandarin just yet, unfortunately, but I would love to know a little bit more about your prized possessions here and your cat, which I've heard is also Chinese.
Bolita. Yeah, she's Chinese. She's actually Shanghainese, and she comes almost every day to work.
How did you adopt her?
Well, she was living in the garbage can.
Wow.
So I used to live in a compound, in small it's called Xiaoqu in Chinese. So she was just living there and she chose me.
I was wondering, how does that help you on the job?
This is very stressful, and it's something like somehow doesn't give you a clear success. You know, it's like you think that you are achieving success when nothing happens, when no one dies, when actually things stay calm. We also are facing a huge corruption scandal. Actually, this is probably the biggest corruption scandal in this government. And one of the reasons why I'm here is to actually stop that corruption.
That is a very big issue. And for that, I don't think you can have an empty stomach. Shall we go have something to eat?
Let's go.
Let's go. We're in Bao Grill in Bogotá, and I want to know, you were 6 years in China. How did you learn how to cook?
I actually started cooking Chinese food here in Bogotá because at that time it wasn't that much easy to find. And still, I mean, this restaurant is great and there are some of them, but I was used to have Chinese food every day.
Wow.
So I started doing things at home by my own.
So what type of products would you buy? You were saying that these are interesting?
Yeah, here they have frozen things like the baozi, and they have also dumplings, jiaozi. They have these veggie ones. So they have also plenty of things. They have fan bian mian, these instant noodles that I have to admit I consume. They have dry tofu. Well, they have plenty of things here.
You were also
Sauces.
a student.
Yeah.
Students need,
Yeah.
in China, students need something fast.
Fast and cheap. And well, they have soybeans, so you can sprout them at home. They're very nutritious. I liked it.
Chapas de camarón grande y unos pequeños.
你好，下午好。就是我们这边是中餐厅，然后我们就是中餐厅，然后包括就是说一些中国的超市食品，就是说这些食品都是从中国进口过来的。
你们有好多东西。
对，然后我们是每2个月进货一次，从中国运过来。
茉莉花茶，
茉莉花茶在我们有的，但是在路上还没有到货。
什么回事啊？
差不多可能1个半月左右会到。
还有一个东西，一个饮料，叫王老吉。
王老吉饮料是吗？我们有的，在冰箱里面。
我们可以，
我可以拿一个过来。好的。
So what is this?
This is a very popular tea. It's like herbal, and I actually like it. It's very sweet, 甜甜的，对吧？I like it. We can try it.
So Carlos, I don't think you can work on an empty stomach, right? Should we go eat?
Let's go.
Let's go. You can go up. You just came back from a trip with President Gustavo Petro in China. So what was that like for you?
Well, we had lunch with Xi Jinping. We were invited by the Chinese Communist Party, you know, the Politburo, to have also lunch. We have dinner with the mayor of Shanghai. It was very impressive. I mean, it was something shocking for me. When we arrived to Shanghai, we were commuting from Hongqiao Airport, and we passed right in front of my university. It was very exciting.
Yes, because I don't think your previous student self would have imagined sitting with the president of China.
Never, ever. I mean, it was to shake hands with Xi Jinping is something very,
Well, what did you guys talk about in terms of Colombia and disaster management, which is your specialty?
I had a meeting with the emergency minister. There is a ministry of risk management and disasters, emergencies in China. It was created by Xi Jinping in 2018. So it was very valuable.
Colombia and China are very different, right? And in size, in the way they think about things, right? So what did you take away from that trip to China? How has it helped and influenced you in the work that you have to do?
Well, I think the experience of the Ministry of Emergencies is very valuable, and we can cooperate with early warning systems. We can learn a lot about technological things. I mean, nowadays China has this cutting edge technology that can help us a lot in here.
We've talked about a lot of the risks that local communities face because they're at the front lines of climate change.
Yeah.
So what is the unit doing to shift and give them more power maybe to respond to these issues?
This is a very interesting question. We have different approaches to this. For example, in terms of early warning systems, communities are incredibly valuable. And I have found some communitarian systems that actually work without any intervention of the government. That we are trying to improve them to share their knowledge because we can actually learn from these communities. And Colombia is a very diverse country, so if you go to La Guajira or if you go to Bichada, there are fire brigades just from indigenous people. And well, there are plenty of examples, and we are trying to encourage them, we are trying to support them, not just with financial support, but also sharing their knowledge and trying to learn from them.
We're talking about adaptation, and I wanted to know, in your personal experience, you moved to China for 6 years. How was it adapting to a different culture?
Well, at the beginning, I was living like an alien in a very different place, but with the time, I really got used to. Actually, it was very hard for me to leave China. I did it maybe thinking that will be temporary, and then when I got Colombia, I started doing politics, and now I'm trapped in here working for the government. So yeah, I think you need a little bit of time, but to be honest, to fully understand the contemporary China, that took me more than 6 years. It's like after I came back and I started missing living there, I started living here again, having all the troubles I didn't have in China, but you have here in Colombia. I understood many things, and now I think I have a kind of full understanding of what China is now in the contemporary days.
Was living in China in any way influencing your idea of going into public service?
I think so, because when I left Colombia, I left the country right after I finished my bachelor degree. I never caught my ties with the political life. I was all the time reading the news, all the time writing in foreign blogs and Facebook or whatever.
About Colombia?
About Colombia, being away. So I felt very frustrated of being that much far, but actually being completely into the political discussion. So somehow that pushed me into politics.
China has had a lot of influence in your life. What do you think we could learn about or take from Chinese culture that would help us in Colombia adapt to all the challenges that we have?
I think there is something that it's very different between Chinese culture and Colombian culture. And it's like Chinese, they have very clear what they are. They belong to a civilization that has been around for thousands of years, and they are proud of what they are, and they don't, they recognize each other. In Colombia, it's not like that. In Colombia, the diversity we have, that is actually a plus, that is something very, very unique. It's also a problem for development. It's like, people, they don't like each other. This is a racist country. This is, our oligarchy does not feel like actually belong to this territory. So I think there are very important lessons we can learn. For example, this sense of community that is not just because of the communist days. I feel Chinese, they have this sense of being, the same somehow.
Now let's talk about Colombia and what we have to give the world. What do you think in terms of disaster response does Colombia have to give to the world?
Well, we have extremely qualified teams for search and rescue. They are like real heroes. We even have super trained dogs, and the Colombian teams, they have helped in different countries, different tragedies. They had a very valuable service in Turkey 2 years ago with this terrible earthquake.
Colombians have gone through a lot over the last century. We have an ongoing armed conflict. And what do those moments, the lessons that come from them, how can we help people with what we've learned and what we've lived through?
Yeah, we're still in conflict, but there is a very interesting example, and we are using the knowledge that has been developed through the war. So some people from the army, some people from the Navy, they have this experience in PTSD after, for example, landmines victims. And now we are using that knowledge to treat people after a natural event.
Thank you for all of this information. You must be very busy. I'll let you go, and we'll have this all to go.